Well, as you can see, guys, we are playing Formula 1 2026 as the new season is only 19 days away from starting. So, we've decided to do a video where we go back 10 years ago when F1 2026 was the game to have come out. And the options you had back then was Quick Race Multiplayer, which was quite a different version of the game. Obviously a simple time trial. These events were quite fun because they were ones you had to download to be able to like play against other people with them. They weren't the funnest things. And then you got the career, where you had the pro career as well, where you had no assists or anything like that. And then the championship season, where you could just go for a normal season, just do a whole season like that. But I think the easiest way for me to show you guys some cars from back then would have been through time trial. So let's have a look at the cars from back in the day. Let's just press a random track, which ain't along here anymore. Where is it? Let's go Hockenheim. Right. I'm not sure which would have been the easiest way to show the cars these days. Would it have been Quick Race? No. I don't know. I'll just go time trial. Yeah, we'll just go time trial. You can actually do like weather stuff, okay. Right. Let's go into time trial and try and show you guys all the cars in the best way I can. Well, here it is, Hockenheim. It was almost one of the last times we saw this track. But yeah, let's have a look at the cars though. And there it is, the Mercedes from 2016. What a car it was though. It was a beautiful car if you thought about it, guys. There it is. They've kind of gone back to this now, in a way. But yeah, there it is. There's the Mercedes. Now let's put up the Scuderia. Let's put the Scuderia Ferrari up, and there it is. Here's the Scuderia. I'm pretty sure they've gone back to this red now, right? And they've gone back to this red. Because I can't remember if they did or not. But yeah, let's have a look. Oh, it is. They've actually kind of gone back to this sort of style. Because if you think about it, we've still got that white bit there, the middle bit on the engine cover. Santander back then as well. Still Ray-Ban. Nice. I want to go check the Red Bull out now. But the Williams are next. Was this the Golf Williams? Because I can't remember if it was the Golf Williams or not. Let's have a look. Which Williams was it? Oh, it was this one. The Hackett Williams. Let me flip the card. It was the Rexona Williams with Bottas and Massa, I believe. It was a nice car back then as well, though. Weren't the greatest looking livery, but it was a nice car. From just looks wise, it was okay. It was one of the cars where it didn't perform the way you wanted it to, but you know. But I'm pretty sure that this is the Red Bull that first had the darker blue. Yeah, it was. It was the Red Bull Aston Martin livery, 2016. Yeah, Red Bull Aston Martin Takua. This livery I was a fan of because of how much yellow they used on the engine colour and the bit of the front wing. I enjoyed that. I did enjoy the Red Bull on the wing back there, the way ring. It was nice. It was a good car, this Red Bull back in the day. But yeah, let's have a look at the Force India, which to me, the Force India, I wasn't the greatest fan of at all in general, just because of the colours they used for it. Black, yellow, silver and green. It wasn't great, was it, if you thought about it? But yeah, it wasn't a great car, not the greatest car. It adds sponsors which I've never seen in my life. Like, what's Claro? What's Uralchem? Like, it was one of them ones where you don't remember it, but you remember the team itself though. Renault, the beautiful yellow liveries. I miss that yellow. To be honest, I miss the Infinity Renault. Look at that. There weren't many things I liked about this car, but the only thing I liked about this car was the livery itself. Everything else about it was awful. And now we get on to some of the worst cars of all time. The Scuderia, Toro Rosso, the Sauber, the McLaren Honda, and the Manor MRT. But first up is the Toro Rosso, which is now the Visa Cash App, the junior team. But to be fair, this coloured blue on a Red Bull car was so much nicer than what it used to look like during the 2016 to about 2020. It's so much nicer to look at. There's Simply Cola on the back there, yeah, a Cronus, the Pirelli sponsors. Bloody hell, what a car it was. It was a nice car, not a very good performing car, but it was a nice looking car. Right, the Sauber, which is now Audi Formula 1 team. This car is currently Audi F1. And there it is. Banco do Brasil. The Siana sponsors. E-Dots. Yeah. It was a simple livery, but worked, in my opinion, but the matter of the fact was, for that season, it was shit. Quite literally shit. But now, this is McLaren Honda, my favourite team. My team, like that. This car, our 2026-17 car, was one of the worst McLarens I have ever seen in my life. Not just livery-wise, performance-wise. Look at it. This was when we had Honda and Alonso. It was awful. It was one of the worst McLaren F1 cars of all time, in my opinion. We still had the Hilton sponsor though, but it's just one of them cars that was so goddamn awful. But you know, it is what it is. Because now we have a really good car. Anyways, it's time for a car that not many of you will recognise. The Manor MRT racing car, which, as I think most of you will remember, it was the worst performing car that entire season. I don't think they had any driver get above 19th place, and that's what they was in. That dodgy looking car with a Shazam sponsor and an Airbnb sponsor. They didn't have much, but what they had was enough for them to finish pretty much dead last every single race. But now on to a very old Haas F1 team livery, which for me was one of my favourite Haas liveries. For me, this was one of the best Haas liveries, mainly down to the fact they were just sponsored by themselves, and they had Alpine stars back then. They even had Richard Mille back then as well. This was a good livery due to the fact it was just simple. It was simple, little tint of red on the back there and the front. Beautiful. I thought it was beautiful. But that is it. That's all the cars. So there we go. Little nostalgia trip back to 2016 there for the F1 season. But what I think we're gonna do is get into a quick 5-lapper. A quick two or three 5-lappers around Hockenheim and Malaysia, and also I want to do a very controversial track, but a track that I remember as a really nice track. So let's do it. We're going to drive with Ferrari because of the Vettel Raikkonen link up, and we will drive as the man himself, Seb Vettel. We'll make it a 3-lap race, and yeah, I think I'm happy with that. 5-lapper, medium AR level. That should be fine. Everything else, assist, I'm just gonna keep it simple. That should do. But yeah, let's do it. Let's go to Hockenheim Ring for a race on the F1 2016 game. After quite a long time, we have not raced on this game for exactly 10 years now. 10 years without racing on this game. So let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get a racing on F1 2016. This is a race from 10 years ago. Let's do it. As Seb Vettel. Come on, let's go. Back into the old T-pod. So let's do it. Wish we got. Am I surprised by this? Absolutely not. So looks like we're restarting. Looks like that's a restart then. Come on then. Wish me luck again. Come on! Our first race back on a game from 10 years ago. We win it as the man himself, Mr. Sebastian Vettel. Let's have a look at this and see if I remember anything about this that I hated or liked.
It's Ferrari on the top step once more.
Oh, there was a lot more spray there. Okay. Oh wow, they actually had cameras on the podium.
And now let's
I
take a look
preferred
at the
that
driver's standings.
to
Sebastian
this
Vettel
year's.
takes
I
over
can't
the lead of the
it was nicer. But let's head to the Malaysian International Raceway, which was called Sepang. Let's go.
Welcome to the Sepang International Circuit, where the cars are already on the grid. Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday... A great win then for the Maranello team today. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
Well, I think the track conditions just really suited their car today. Wind, track temperature, you name it. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature. So the more easily you can keep them there, the better your race tends to go. And that's exactly what happened. Their car just looks so comfortable out there.
And as we can see, it's time for the podium. And as the drivers make their way out, there's a familiar red suit making its way to the top step. Fantastic win for Ferrari. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. It's a good result for Sebastian Vettel, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
I think I'll go for Esteban Gutierrez.
And for the final track, which I'm not going to say the name of, I'm just going to let you guys find out.
Constructors come and go, drivers rise and fall. But even as politics change and history moves on, the spirit of competition burns as strongly as it ever has. Welcome back then to Formula One, as battle is joined at the summit of motorsport once again. Built on the shores of the Black Sea, the Sochi Autodrome is a 3.6-mile tour around some of the venues built for the 2014 Winter Olympic Games. Close barriers may make overtakes more challenging, but with 56% of the lap taken absolutely flat out, we certainly won't be wanting for pure speed. A fitting arena then to do battle at the pinnacle of motorsport. Joining me to talk you through the action today is Anthony Davidson, and give us an idea of what kind of thing you're going to be looking out for today.
Well, the big question for me is whether or not we're going to see the cars able to follow each other closely enough to overtake, especially through the fast sections here. Of course, we've got DRS, and that will help on the straights, but it's still no good if you're coming off the previous corner too slowly or too far behind.
With that then, let's run through the grid order. An immense... So, another excellent win from Ferrari. Tell me, Ant, what was the key to this success?
Well, I think the track conditions just really suited their car today. Wind, track temperature, you name it. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature. So the more easily you can keep them there, the better your race tends to go. And that's exactly what happened. Their car just looks so comfortable out there.
So, here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Now then, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
It's got to be Rio Haryanto. He was in another league for me today. Really impressive.
Well, guys, yeah, well, that is how this would have ended then. But that was driving Formula 1 and going back for a nostalgia kick 10 years ago, as the 2026 season is close to starting. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed seeing a game from 10 years ago this year. 10 years ago. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know down below in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.